In the confrontation between democracy and theocracy, i.e., the confrontation between the state and the Islamists, I would safely and confidently say that no one can seize power in Egypt by force. Egypt is not Iran. The state structure in Egypt is largely solid because it is based on the culture of centralization since pharaonic times. It's a system of values. It's not just management. Lay Egyptians accept the legitimacy of the state, even if they hate the state, even if they think that the state officials are bastards and corrupt and embezzlers of public money, torturers and everything, devils. They still accept their legitimacy and try to act within this broad legitimacy. Of course, the Egyptians have the way of maneuvering around the law, but they don't declare their opposition to the law. Okay? They just find ways of maneuvering, of avoiding applying them, but they still accept the basic legitimacy of the law. Many Egyptians, even in their daily life disputes between a husband and a wife, go to the court system, and they have some confidence in the court system, which is part of the state structure. Many, you could resolve some of these disputes in a cordial or personal basis, but they still go to this one branch of the state to resolve such disputes for them. And all this gives us, and also the state in Egypt employs no less than 4 million employees, government employees. If you add the public sector employees, you would have double this number, which means actually half the labor force in Egypt is working for the state. So there is an infrastructure for state power in Egypt. Even with all the problems of the state, with the large-scale corruption, with the inefficiency, with the inability to resolve so many problems, still the state has a solid ground in Egypt. No one can really see state power that easily. And in the final analysis, there is the army, and the Egyptian army is a very large army, and it can always be the savior, the last savior of the political system. Okay? Unless you seize the army itself. And in a large army, you cannot just plot a small coup with a small unit you have, with a few officers just go and take power. No. The only coup that's imaginable in a country like Egypt should be the coup of the high command of the army. If the leadership of the army meets and decides to seize power for whatever reason, when there is a social crisis or a revolution or whatever. So there are no prospects of military coups in Egypt. There are no prospects of the army itself conspiring against legitimacy. And all in all, people accept the incumbent government as the de facto government, as people in power. Okay? We don't like them, we dislike them, but we cannot really conspire to depose them. Because after all, it will be a waste of time. They have repressive instruments which can stop any seizure of power by force in Egypt. There is a strong army which can clamp down on any opponent of the state.